When I got into anime in mid-2015, I would have described it as a word-of-mouth phenomenon, at least within the West. You got into it because someone coaxed you into watching an episode of a show and you got hooked. The only anime you'd see actual advertisement for outside of that were all Ghibli films. And they're only anime in the sense that a KFC is a delicatessen. Yes, they provide the same type of thing, but frankly everyone already goes there regardless, so you wouldn't trust the experience of someone whose only experience of it comes from there. But only 7 years later, anime seems to be a lot easier to come across. Now there's many fears within the community of what might happen when your hobby suddenly becomes mainstream, and for the most part anime has avoided this. No one's gonna come in and make it uncool to like anime. It was never cool to like anime in the first place. But another thing that really separates anime from a lot of mainstream stuff, like gaming, is that there just doesn't seem to be as much hype for upcoming releases. Whenever I notice casual anime fans are in a hype-induced state due to an anime, it tends to be while it's actually airing as opposed to when the trailer comes out. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna say the word hype like 50 times here, so yeah, I apologise for my lack of synonyms. A lot of this tends to be down to differences in marketing between a Western tentpole movie and your average anime series. Often, Western tentpole films are announced years in advance, then there's directors and writers drumming up hype by attending interviews, marketing campaigns that go on for months. Every announcement seems to scream, this movie's gonna be big, prepare your asses. Whereas when an anime series is announced, the only thing the adverts seem to say is, I'm working on it! This isn't entirely true, since in Japan, you do occasionally see an anime series hyped up before release, as was the case in 2009 with the second season of The Melancholy of Haruhi Suzumiya. This shit got newspaper ads, online live action teasers, and a first episode that was so popular they decided to air it 7 fucking times. And this level of expectation comes naturally with a sequel. While not on the same level as Haruhi Suzumiya Season 2 in Japan, I remember there being quite a lot of hype in the West with Attack on Titan Season 2. For 4 years, people were asking when's it coming out. There were memes about it never happening. By the time the release date was actually revealed, everyone was going mental. People got posting speculation videos, whole podcasts were created just for discussing it, and manga readers started getting very, very smug. But the hype didn't actually last very long after release. This is a general trend I'm going to talk about with most case studies in this video, where if there is hype beforehand, it tends to be that it drops off just as it starts airing. This is the mark against Attack on Titan Season 2. The season was good, although not quite reaching the heights of what later seasons have achieved. I think the reason it dropped off was that it just so happened to be going toe-to-toe with My Hero Academia Season 2, which, in contrast, had less people going in assuming it was going to cure cancer. As a result, when something great happened in My Hero Academia, people would be much more surprised, which tipped the scales in its favour. But then that created hype for My Hero Academia Season 3, and when it sort of petered out after the first half, some were disappointed. And then when Season 4 was all filler, the hype wave had truly dissipated. Looking back on the whole thing, I'm just surprised that there was once a time where Attack on Titan's fanbase were a group obsessed with shipping, and My Hero Academia fans were the based ones. How times change. When a new anime project does get hype before release in the West, the most common reason will be because it's already been a successful manga or light novel. Shows with anticipation behind them within the last few years serve as good examples. Vinland Saga, JoJo's, Chainsaw Man all had pre-existing fan bases. As a result, the initial waves of hype were from manga readers. But with me, the initial viewer base for pre-existing properties can be explained with, and pardon the pretension, a bell curve. So here you have the people who haven't interacted with the property and think, I guess I'll watch it when it comes out to see what the hype is about. Then you have the manga readers, who are hyping it up as the second coming of Christ, and will commit ritual suicide if they coloured in a manga panel in the wrong shade of magenta. Finally, we have the upper end of the bell curve, which is where you find me, because I'm very, very smart. And why am I here? Because when I see waifu, I click. I'm genuinely not lying. If the only marketing there is a cute girl in it, you'll see some big returns. Why do you think my dress-up darling got so popular? It's because there were manga readers, then people who watched the PV realised, wow, booba. But the hype wave was never so out of control that everyone knew about the booba. So when it started airing, even more people got on board, because they just found out about the booba. Another strong example of this is Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai, because shortly before airing, I heard that there was an actually pretty good waifu present in this show, and I'm pretty sure we can all guess who it is in a show named Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. That's right, Hajime Kamishida. Often, if a staff member involved with an anime is prolific enough, you'll see a bit of hype, nothing on the same level as manga reader hype, but hype nonetheless. Prime example, Makoto Shinkai. I'd see people queuing around the block to watch Weathering with You, even though only a few days earlier they would have just been calling it that one by the same guy who made Your Name. Same for Kill la Kill and, by extension, Promare, since those had the Gurren Lagann team behind it. Mind you, up until mid-2018, basically everything Trigger put their name to was hyped up. That lasted until Darling in the Franxx, or as I know it, the Great Copium Binge of mid-2018. as people realised that maybe Trigger aren't actually magicians. Either that or they just blamed A1 Pictures. Now, I'd be lying to you if I said I've never got my hopes up for a show before, since I got mine up for Carol and Tuesday, because I thought, Bones plus Watanabe, it's gonna be a banger on the same level as Bebop, with great fucking music to boot. And well, had good music. Honestly, I'm glad anime pre-release marketing is the way it is. When I see an anime trailer, the most I think is, man, that song in it sounds good, which is my takeaway for the trailers attached to Uchiagi Hanabi, Mob Psycho 100 Season 2, and the Fooly Cooly sequels. And I'm glad they stay that way. A lot of Western media spoils shitloads of plot points in their trailers, whereas anime PVs just tend to be, here are characters, here are the people, here's the general gist of things. Like the trailer for Suzume no Tonari, the new Shinkai film. Most are expecting this to be like their previous ones, a teenage love story with mystical elements set in Tokyo. But Makoto Shinkai seems to be changing things up completely with this film. It's set in Kyushu this time, but take this much away from this video. Know as little as possible when going into your anime. It makes things much more fun when truly experiencing it for the first time. It's also just important not to get unnaturally high expectations for shows you don't even know the air date for. Wait, Vinland Saga Season 2 is happening. Let's fucking go!